Hey there, welcome in TBC, the Big Chef. I am Faker, and today's our chapter is about Attack on the King. This chapter of Attack on the King also covers weakening the king's defense. Look at the diagram showing in the video. In this position, it's a practical or it's an example position only. All the things depended on the mobility and materials on the game, but for example in this position we can say that white king is safer than black king, or white king is safe in compared to black king, because black king's g7 pawn is weakened and moved to g7 to g6, so it becomes some important squares near king like f6 and h6. So opponent have to work normally to attack the black king instead of white. If opponent wants to attack the white king, so opponent want to work hard, or opponent have to work very hard to attack the white king. A theory suggests that if you want to open the castled king like white, so you have to sack at least your a minor piece. So this is the example of weak king and safe king. Now move to the game. This game is between Alexander Alekhine and Hans Jonas. The game was played in 1934. A practical example always illustrates the topic better than words. So move to the game. e4 was played by Alekhine and e5 by Jonas. Knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5. It's a royal page. a6, bishop a4, d6, castles, knight f6, c3, bishop d7, d4, bishop e7, d5, gaining more space in the center for white, knight b8, bishop c2, defending e4, bishop g4, pinning the knight, c4, gaining more space and freeing the c3 square for the knight, knight bd7, h3, hitting the bishop, bishop h5, knight c3, castle, g4, and an over ambitious move of Alekhine, bishop g6, queen a2. In this position, white has brought his kingside pawns forward, thereby making room for the effective position of his attacking units. Bishop d2, king g2, rook h1 and rook a g1. Black has no such opportunities, one of the reasons being that the bishop at g6 stands in the way. g6 bishop stands in the way, so it follows that the white position deserves preference unless black finds some way to of developing an active defense. Here black can try like h5. In the game black plays knight e8. It's a bad move, but black can try here h5. After h5 white plays knight h4, so h into g4. A normal tactic is not applicable here, because after bishop e4, knight e4, knight e4, queen e4, this knight cannot be captured because mate is on f7, h7. So after knight h4, h into g4, h into g4, knight h7, a good move. The knight g6, f g6, f4, so p f4 and bishop f4, bishop f6. Now white's e4 pawn is weak and e5 square is controlled by black. So h5 is a good for black, but black plays here knight e8, bad move. Bishop d2, the same idea, king g2, rook h1 and later rook g1. h6, again a weak move. As I told you before, every pawn moves will weak your king. So we can say a weakening move, which in view of black's passive policy must ultimately mean trouble for the bishop and help white's attack. So h5 is still preferable. We can say that black can also try the h5. So after this, king g2, idea same, rook h1, bishop h7, rook h1, g5. It the biggest mistake of black, because it weakens the f5 square, and this enables white to open h file via h5 and h into g5. White can open the h file So and knight come to f5 via d1 e3 and f5. So here white plays h4, f6, knight d1, idea knight e3 and knight f5, rook f7, knight e3, knight f8. With knight f8, black wants to go to his knight g6 and f4. So here white plays knight f5. If bishop takes f5, then knight cannot come to knight f8 cannot come to f4. So after bishop f5, gf5. Now both file is open for white. White can open by rook g1, and now the f8 knight cannot come to g6. So here rook h7 was played, rook ag1, knight g7, idea knight h5 and knight f4 with queen support. So king f1. White has everything needy tied up. Queen e8. This enables a knight to reach f4 after all with knight h5 and knight f4. If white move like h5, then king's head will be closed. So after queen e8, knight h2, intending knight to g4, knight h5, knight g4, knight f4, queen f3, intending to win beautifully by queen sacrifice. If black plays like here b6, then bishop into f4, ef4, queen f4. If after gf4, then knight h6, check with the knight, check with the g1 loop. So king h8 the only move, and rook g8 mate. So after queen f3, black plays king g7. Now h into g5, opening the h file. H g5, rook h7, king knight h7, rook h1. By simple means, white has gained control of the h file, and now 3 tends to win quickly by bishop into f4 and queen h3. Bishop, queen h3, idea queen h6 or queen h7. Here black plays king h8, rook h6, idea queen h1, queen f7, bishop d1. This is an important move. The further course of the game will illustrate the idea behind this. Rook g8. Black faces a difficult task. He has no counterplay and must defend himself against any number of threats. Queen b3. The principle of two weakness here. Instructive and particularly strong. The attacker must never ignore the possibility of some deflecting maneuvers here. For instance, unless the black rook return in time, and white's queen will penetrate black's position and winning some pawns. b6. Black can also try like rook b8, but bishop into f4, gf4, queen h3 a good move. After rook g8, knight into e5 good move. F e5, then bishop h5, queen g7, so bishop d6, winning. So after b6, white plays queen a4, a good move. Idea with the double threat of queen a6 and queen d7. So here black plays bishop f8, hitting the rook, queen into a6, bishop h6. Don't fear about your exchange, because exchange will back with knight h6, hitting the rook and hitting the queen. The importance of the white's light square bishop, that it prevents black queen from reaching h5. Here black queen cannot come to h5 because bishop is guarding the h5 square. So here black plays queen g7, knight g8, winning back the exchange, king g8, queen c8, check. Here if you played like queen f8, so queen c7. So here after queen c8, black plays knight f8, so white plays with bishop f4. Finally, this last outpost is eliminated, and at a time when black cannot take advantage of the open files resulting from this change. Bishop f4, then ef4, queen e8, and black plays g4. Black's last hope, which is not to be underestimated. Queen h5, idea hitting the g4, winning back the g4, so f3, bishop a4. Bishop a4 stops blacks to play knight d7, and reaching later e5, so knight h7, bishop c2. Black again want to go to e5, then black plays knight f8. Black can also try knight g5, but queen g4 to queen h6 idea mate on h1, so here white can try queen h1, king f8, freeing the knight, bishop d1, knight h3 check, king f1, queen c1, then queen f3. Not good for black, so black again choose knight f8. Here Alekhine's X-ray eyes shows his strength. Here Alekhine plays e5. White has faced with difficult problems because his bishop could develop little activity, but the text move removes all the obstacles. White offers of a pawn has two aspects. Number one is positional and other is combinative, as shown by the further course of the game. So here black plays d into e5. After here is black has two options, either take with d or e. If black take with the f pawn, so after f e5, f6, so queen f6, queen g4 check, king f7, and bishop e4. Now f3 will soon fall, and later b4 and a4, a5, simple win for white. Black can also try here after d5, d6. Idea simple, bishop e4 and bishop d5 check. King cannot go anywhere, so winning the material for white. After d6, black plays c5, bishop e4, queen d7. Idea, king can, after bishop e4 check, king can come to g7, but queen h6. Queen h6 stop the g7, and bishop d5 check is deadly. So here Joner resigns. Now assess the position after king g2. We assess the position in favor of white because he controls greater space in the king side. Effective arrangement of the forces like rook h1, rook g1, knight f5, bishop d1, rook h1, knight via d1, e3 and f5, later rook h1, and a cute move, bishop d1. And careful preparation for opening up the lines of attack like hg5 in the right time. At the same time, not forgetting to opposite wing, queen b3, a good move. We can say that white's attack was made possible by black's passive policy and helped by the unfortunate position of his light squared bishop. Without the presence of the bishop at g6, without the presence of the bishop, it would have been far more difficult for white to secure an open file for his attack. This problem is much in same important variation of the Royal page. Thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Subscribe for more update and don't forget to like. Bye bye.